Do you think Ed has been seeing anybody else?
I don't know if he's been seeing anybody else, but I know he was on a dating app.
You and your mom set up a fake account to spy on me?
How am I spying on you when it's an Asian dating website?
Okay.
Has Ed messaged you or spoken to you the last couple months?
That's right, all of you guys are in for an absolute freaking treat today. Big Ed has been exposed on the 90-Day Fiance tell-all that I'm reacting to today for trying to cheat on Liz with, guess who, none other than an OG to the series, Rose, his original love. There are so many layers of insanity to this one that I just can't get into in this intro, so make sure you watch until the very end because this is going to be a wild freaking ride. Drop a like if you enjoy my Big Ed series, and if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you do so because a large portion of you are not subscribed that watch my videos. Nevertheless, thank you for clicking on this one, and let's get right on into it, shall we?
So Liz and I, I broke up with Liz again. Just things weren't going well. We were in counseling and...
So we're starting things off with an update from Ed, who is standing alone in his kitchen once again. It's crazy how he can start this series in, the same way that he ends it, just being forever alone and hating his life. Although he does have a cool new chain now, so maybe he's trying out this bad boy aesthetic. But that's right, they have officially broken up, but don't jump ahead of yourself, all right? This is actually the most confusing relationship dynamic of all time. I'm gonna let them explain it a little bit better, but even I am still confused on their actual status of their relationship. You'll see what I mean here in a second. It's honestly just too much for my brain to handle.
We decided that to give our relationship a chance, that we need to be separated. But I'm like, look, I love you. I want to work this out, but we can't do that living together.
So it's been a few months since the last episode that we saw between these two, and officially Big Ed has kicked Liz to the curb. But he claims that they are still together. They just needed their own spaces. And look, everybody can do their own relationship their own way, but that just seems like they do not want to be together, and they are still staying together for the sake of this show, or because Ed just does truly realize he will never get it any better than Liz. Doesn't matter how many cool chains you put on and how many cool black tank tops you wear to show off your awesome tats, Ed, you are just not going to get anybody that's even close to Liz. So please don't lose this, or else we're never going to hear the end of it.
After a month and a half of couch surfing, I finally found a great apartment. I just feel really comfortable here.
But in other amazing news, we have a great arc for Liz. Well, not great because she's still wasting her time talking to this freaking slug of a human, but she officially has her own place, which we know is a huge milestone in her life. She has not had that consistency of just having her own money and a place to stay that she can call her own. So I think this is beautiful, and I'm glad that she is finally getting space away from Ed so she can realize how awesome her life can be by herself. And actually, she has her friend over who we've met in a previous episode, and now she's going to share her perspective on what has been going on in their relationship. Don't worry, we're gonna get right on into this tell-all after this, but just hear how she explains their current relationship. She even understands how toxic and weird it is because she tries to hide from her friend that they're even talking again.
So far, it's been working out really good. Our agreement is I will see you every other night. Even if it's just like me coming over and sleeping next to you, that's it.
So basically, we have a rule where I have to see him every other day. That's in our contract with TLC, is just in order to get my paychecks and everything, we have to at least look like a couple. So the thing is, I have to at least fall asleep with him every other day, and I set an alarm for 3 a.m. so I can wake up and of course drive home to my own bed where I'm much more comfortable and safe feeling, not being surrounded by him and his stench, and then there I've met my quota for being a girlfriend. So yeah, we're pretty much on a very good track with our relationship. Like, do you hear what you're saying, Liz? It sounds like they have the weirdest setup. I'm just confused by this. Anyways, it's time to fast forward. We're getting to the tell-all where all of the cast members from this show meet up for one big explosive event where they basically air out all of their dirty laundry. It's in New York, and shocker, Big Ed and Liz showed up on different flights and are staying in different hotel rooms, much like their different house situation. But hey guys, they're still together, right? Yeah? It's still a couple? It counts? Good.
Just landed. So I'm here for the tell-all. I call it the bloodbath.
So Ed just landed. He is looking, well, greasy, I would say. That's the only word that comes to mind, but that's kind of par for the course with Big Ed. Also, he somehow got another new tribal-based tattoo. I mean, has anybody told this man that he can get tattoos that are fashionable outside of the 1990s, right? I know that was his golden era when he was a young 40-year-old man back in the day, but yeah, these tattoos are not it. Anyways, he seems excited for this. He almost relishes in the idea of everybody hating him and him being this villain. I think that's a role that he really enjoys playing for this show, and god dang it, he's good at it, man. I love to hate watch this man. Clearly, I've devoted a large chunk of my life watching his sad downfall in life play out on this TV show, and it's just brilliant. So let's get into it. I am ready for this.
We're still together.
We're engaged, but we're not living together.
But you're engaged.
But we're, yes, yeah.
And you slept in different hotel rooms last night.
So now it's time for the tell-all, and they're starting this thing off by just airing out all of Big Ed's cringe that he's done throughout this season. And another co-star points out the fact that they indeed did not even stay in the same hotel room when they were on this awesome vacation to New York to film this show that they're a part of, like the finale of it. You'd think they'd be, you know, living it up in the Big Apple and at least spend the night together in this hotel. I mean, I know you have the every other night thing going on, which is still so confusing to me that that's just their metric for being a good relationship, but you're telling me they can't even stay in the same damn hotel room? That is a red flag right there.
So, Liz, did Ed kick you out?
He wants to say no.
I did not kick her out. I don't agree with that.
He told me this
for
isn't
3
working.
months.
So Ed claims that he has just been trying to get rid of Liz like she is some leech, and that could not be further from the truth. This man has been so freaking desperate to make this relationship work. He has done everything in his power to remain in control of her and her life, and I think he's just salty that she started to actually get some money of her own, and he was like, you know what? You got money for an apartment now? Go live in one yourself. I don't want to live here with you. In fact, I gotta kick you out. And Liz even said earlier that he gave her literally a week's notice, which I know it's probably not on paper that she was leasing with him, but that is not even something you can do to renters in most states. You gotta give them at least a month warning, especially because it's hard to get a living situation figured out on short notice. So quite messed up, and just another layer of Big Ed's terrible personality coming to light.
And you spend the night every other night?
So now that we don't live together, when she's upset or I'm upset, we separate.
And Big Ed's trying to explain why this two-house situation works for them all of a sudden. It makes their relationship so much better. When he explains this, it just makes it sound like they can't stand each other. If you can't be around your significant other for more than one day at a time and you need a day off every other day, that is not love. That is you like barely putting up with a roommate. It's like 10 steps away from being loved, to where I'm just so confused that they both think they're still living this storybook fairy tale life together, and it's not true. They're both absolutely miserable people, and when they're put together, they make each other 10,000 times more miserable somehow. So a part I'm gonna skip is they pan out, and Rich has just been sitting here silently on the couch next to them for no reason the entire time. He gives his whole spiel. Look, man, I'm kind of bored of Rich because he is like the one voice of reason that nobody pays attention to. Liz doesn't mess with him. Ed doesn't mess with him anymore. He can't even stand the guy because he was like, oh, you and Liz have a toxic relationship. And then Ed was like, oh, screw you, man, and isolated himself from him just like the rest of his family. But yeah, I don't really need to hear what, you know, this dude has to say because he's just repeating the same things I repeated 1,000 times at this point. These two are not freaking compatible, and this entire train wreck is embarrassing for Ed and his family to see play out on TV. Ed probably loves it because he thinks he's a celebrity and can make all this merch of himself, like you saw in the intro. He literally has candles with his name on it, like he's about to host a vigil for himself. But everybody else in Ed's life has been ruined by this show and the existence of Big Ed as a character.
She was an ex-gay coworker that wanted to get with Liz.
And now they're talking about the whole situation with Liz's supposed gay coworker that was, well, not supposedly gay, but she was supposedly flirting with Liz, cheating on Ed with Liz, and this man's insecurities just bubble up to the surface once again.
So she told Ed one day, you can't treat her right. It's going to take a real woman to treat her right. And I would.
Oh.
I will say, Liz says some inflammatory things, like you don't have to mention that you would actually, you know, get with this woman if you had the chance. That doesn't need to be said, and maybe feeds into a little bit of explanation of why Ed reacted to the way he did. Still not okay at all. But man, these two are so toxic, it just makes me laugh.
Do you think Ed has been seeing anybody else since you two separated, since you moved out?
So I had to cut there, but there's about 10 seconds of silence after this question gets raised about whether Ed has been speaking to other women since they've, quote, broken up. They keep using this term, but I mean, the woman is still wearing her engagement ring on stage right now. They still say that they're together. They're just living in separate places. So I don't know how this is a half soft breakup thing. This whole stage of their relationship is just utterly confusing to me, but yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this silence is kind of damning for Ed, and I'm gonna guess that he has been around cheating, much like he was expecting Liz to do. I feel like everything he gets mad at her for is simply a projection of everything he wants to do but just can't, because obviously nobody outside of Liz wants to get with Big Ed at all.
I don't know if he's been seeing anybody else, but I know he was on a dating app.
Wow.
And bombshell. So Ed has been spotted on a dating app. She explains that her mother got sent a screenshot of Ed's profile on a dating app. And you know what? I'm gonna let this clip play out so that you can understand exactly what type of dating site this was. Because trust me, it wasn't Tinder. That would have been bad enough. But no, this is a specific type of dating site that let's just say Liz probably wouldn't be on.
How do you know?
I got a screenshot through Instagram.
She spies on me.
How am I how am I spying on you when it's an Asian dating website?
Okay.
So that's right. This website that they ended up finding his account on was an Asian dating website, which we know this man already has an absolute fixation on Asian women. Let me remind you of how we started to learn of his existence in the first place. Him going for Rose over in the Philippines. This man just cannot stop being his own worst enemy. I am mind blown that he even exists and is as ballsy as he is. Actually, he's just stupid. That's what it is. He doesn't know how to cover his tracks and even cheat incognito. He's just out there on these Asian dating apps hoping that nobody recognizes his very, very recognizable face.
My mom and I created an account, which was very hard to create an account.
Which is kind of weird.
He
to
was
spy on
it an hour after I left his house.
And Ed claims this is creepy. I say they're just doing their due diligence here. But Liz and her mom actually started an account on this app and they were able to see when he was active. And she would go over to Ed's house and an hour later he'd be on this app looking for some Asian shawties that he can just, you know, hang out with now that his house is free for the next 24 hours as it's probably an off day and Liz is at her own home. That's exactly why he wanted to have this setup, dude. Oh my God, you dirty dog, Ed, you dirty freaking dog. And look at him, he's not even denying it. Well, he is, but his face tells it all.
She accuses me of being with women. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a socialite. You don't like my personality. You think I'm flirty. This is who I am.
And what's so insane and so detached from reality is now Ed goes on a rant saying, this is my personality. You think I'm just trying to cheat on you everywhere. I'm a flirty person. That's just how I am. I'm a socialite, which is a very funny word to say. I think he's just obnoxious and thinks he's funny and everybody pity laughs at him because, well, he doesn't have a neck and they feel bad. Anyways, isn't that exactly what he was accusing Liz of? I mean, the cognitive dissonance here is absolutely insane. This man is so far detached from reality. I don't know if anything's going to ground him at this point. We need to just leave Ed alone so he can be in his own little world. I'm convinced.
Have you spoken to your ex-fiance, Rose? You haven't corresponded with her through text?
Oh my God, we're going back to back with the awkward silences. Now the question gets raised if Ed has been in contact with Rose, and this man goes on a long pause only to say, well, I might have texted her like hello once. I think we follow each other on Instagram. Like she might have swiped up on a story. I don't know. It's like just social media though. So I was barely talking to her. Like, come on, dude. Are you seriously trying to go back to Rose after not only did she go on a campaign during like the height of the pandemic back in 2020, just smearing his name and clearly showing that she is over this guy, but come on, dude. You are literally your own biggest enemy, and it is hilarious to watch. I cannot stand how dumb this man is.
Well, in an effort to lay everything out on the table, we want to welcome Ed's ex, Rose, to the conversation.
And that's right, as a final bombshell, we actually get to see Rose again. And might I add, she's looking healthy and beautiful, much better than the last time we saw her in absolute distress being around Ed and his mayo hair. I think the distance has done some wonders for her. And now we're about to hear confirmation over whether or not he has been trying to hit up Rose in their off time or the off season of this relationship.
Has Ed messaged you or spoken to you the last couple months?
So finally, the floor opens up to Liz. She gets to ask Rose this question of if Big Ed has been in contact with her over the last couple months. And, well, no shocker. The answer is...
Yeah.
That's right. Big Ed has been trying to sneak his way back into being with Rose while being half engaged, half still in a relationship with Liz. This whole thing is about to give me an aneurysm, guys, all right? And you know what? The episode drops off on a cliffhanger there. This video's already been long enough, so I gotta hang it up there too. I'm sorry. I know I'm the bad guy for this. But drop a like if you haven't already if you want to see the next part of this tell-all, as I am sure we are not done with the messiness. God, I am living for this. If you could not hear my excitement throughout this video, I don't know what to tell you. But as always, shout out to my patrons for supporting me over there, and shout out to all of you that watch until the very end of the video. If you did, comment Grim Squad for life. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace out.